Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dear students, we have reached the end of our unit, which is Unit 3. We are going to see what we have left in our unit. Now, this is a great achievement for us. We have finished Unit 1, Unit 2, and we are reaching the end of our Unit 3. So let's just go back and revise what we took in our unit. In the last lesson, we talked about the present simple and the past simple. We specifically talked about how to make questions. Now, there are different types of questions. Of course, we have here, as we can see, that we have the yes-no questions, and also we asked information questions using different question words. Now we also applied something else. We can see here that, of course, we have a complete mapping here. We have the main structure, which is going to be the simple or the verb. We have the tenses, the past simple and the present simple. Of course, we have here different forms. You can see that we have the yes-no questions, WH questions, and under each part, there are the helping verbs that we use in this structure. So you can see if we have yes-no questions, we can use a verb to be, or were or did if they are in the past. Of course, yes, we have actually the past here. We have the same, can be used in information questions. And of course, we have here do and does. They can be used in the present simple. So here, this is mainly just an outline for what we did and what are the helping verbs that we used in our last lesson. Now, moving on, we have here, of course, this is for short answers. Moving on, also, we had words that we associate with space and the planetary system. Now, you can see that we have quite a lot of words that are mentioned in the book, and we are going to apply them in the exercise that we have in the book. So this is a practice for us just to recall what is the meaning of these words. Now, there are simple words like the moon or stars, and there are other words like, for example, just to recall that we have robot cars or technology, or volcanoes or rocks or poisonous air. Now, all of these words, they are related to space. Now, let's just see here that we have here complete these facts about space with an appropriate word. Use the vocabulary words above. So in the book, you do have the words that we just took a look at. We have number 1, the sun is at the center of our blank. Actually, you have 2 blanks. So just watch out for the smallest details that we have here, the full stop between the 2 blanks. So we can say that the sun is at the center of our solar system. Okay, so we have here 2 words. And then starting with the other sentence, blank is one planet in a group of 8 planets. So we are talking about, of course, we're going to choose our beloved planet, which is planet Earth. Completing, we have scientists now consider Pluto to be a dwarf planet. We have number 2, the sun is a blank. So we had the example in the last lesson. What is the sun? We have here the sun is a star because it is very close to Earth. It looks bigger than the other stars. Number 3, sometimes a blank crashes into the moon and makes a crater or giant hole in the surface. So what are the things that fly and sometimes crash into another planet or a satellite? We can say that we have here a meteor crashes into the moon. Then we have number 4, in the future, scientists want to blank hotels on the blank so people can go there on vacation. So this was the interesting lesson, the reading lesson, when we talked about tourism in space. So they want to, yes, build hotels, and the closest place to Earth is going to be the moon. Okay, so we have here, moving on, we have the second example in the same page here. We can see that we have here, work with a partner. One person should read extract 1 and the other person should read extract 2. Ask and answer each other to talk about your reading extract. So you are going to practice together in class. For example, what is extract 2 about? It's about space tourism and what tourists will do and what will they do and so on. So it's a great way to practice your questions. You can ask as much questions as you want based on, of course, the information that we have here. So this is going to be what we took in our last lesson. Now, since we are talking about the past and the present, and we relate it to space here, we are going to use this type of information into something new here. Now, as you can see that the focus, the zoom was from space all to Riyadh here. So we are going to just focus here and see what do we have new. Now we're going to see that we have, yes, you can see that we have here pictures or photos of old Riyadh and new Riyadh. So we have changed and went back from space to our city, our planet, of course, and then to our country and our city, Riyadh here. And we are going to go back to the first lesson when there was a kind of comparisons, or there were predictions and what is going to change, and the things that people imagined that are going to change from the past to the future. Now, just to think about our city, Riyadh. Riyadh here, there are lots of changes that we have witnessed throughout the years. You can see, for example, that there's, of course, big changes here. Now, we're going to just show you different pictures. Now, just imagine that this was the old Riyadh, and of course, there are camels there that were considered the basic way to move from one place to another, or transportation. Also, we can see that these are old photos of different cities in Saudi Arabia, and of course, all these cities have changed to the best or the better. You can see also even in mosques, the Holy Mosque in Mecca and the Holy Mosque in Medina, how the progress and achievements, there were new projects, and there were lots of changes that have happened throughout the years. We can also add that there are different changes concerning, of course, industry. And we have here different changes concerning transportation as well. Now, this is a chance for you and your classmates to just think about different topics and different changes, and you can just share some thoughts here and see what is the most interesting topic that you all agree on. So why? Because we are going to move to the idea of changes here, and we are going to apply the changes in our last lesson in the unit. We have here the project. So you are going to just think about the changes together. You are going to just discuss what is the most interesting point that you are going to just research in and think about. So let's move on with our lesson. We have, of course, just to remind you, that the project in each unit relates to the unit's main topic. So just think that you are going to talk about, yes, changes, but you are going to relate these changes to the future. So we are talking about what will they think of next? What are the things that are going to change in the future? Put that in mind. We have here, it is an activity in which you cooperate to perform a directed task. As examples, you may make a brochure or design a presentation. You may interview people and report back to, or do research, and so on. Mainly, the project requires to use all the language you have acquired. So this time, we are going to focus on one type of project. You are going to make a presentation based on what we have in the book. So we're going to move on with our lesson here. Of course, I remind you always, the most important thing to work as a team, because we have here different things to exchange and different benefits, which makes us a symbiotic team. Our objectives are going to be, number one, to compare between old and new parts in an area. So like the pictures that I have showed you, and you can think about other things to compare. We have number two, to enumerate different kinds of changes and developments happening in neighborhoods, areas, towns, and cities. Research about current developments. Prepare and present your project figure. Apply structure, forms, vocabulary, and phrases that have been learned throughout the unit. Generate a positive view about the future of this nation's ambitions in various fields. So, Now, these are the instructions that are mentioned in the book here. We have here, first of all, page number 46. Take a closer look at your neighborhood or an area in your town and think about changes that have been taking place over the last year or two. So you don't have to go far, you can just look around you. So any place that you go to within your neighborhood or the area that you live in, you're going to witness that there are lots of things that have changed throughout the previous years, and you're going to compare how they were before, maybe 10 years ago, or even less than 10 years, just to think about what do you have, what have changed, and there are lots of examples that you can discuss together. Now, number one, look at the area and write things that you see. For example, old and new buildings, sidewalks, street lights, new and old stores, traffic, sanitation system, parks, and so on. You're going to think about these different parts. Number two, you are going to research and collect information about constructions or other projects. So when you have decided together as a team, what is the part or the most interesting topic that you are going to research about. Now, this is a good way just to collect, talk to people who live in the area. This type of information will give you ideas about the kinds of development changes that will probably take place. So yes, things have changed, but we are still changing and things are getting even better and better, inshallah. Now, number three, use the chart to make notes about the information and your ideas. Now, you do have this table in your book. You are going to use the same chart here or the same table to just write your notes. We have it is divided into three parts here. You can see that we have the first thing, the area as you see or know it now at the present time. The second part, we have here the area as you imagine it in year 2030 or even 2040. So we are thinking about the vision and beyond. What are the things that you imagine are going to change? It's time, or it's your way to just predict or just imagine what is going to be in the future. We have the third column here, comment on change, positive or negative. So it's up to you. Sometimes you can have different feelings about some kind of change. Now, some people, they do not like changes. They like things that are the same. They like the classic way, or we can say that they are more comfortable with how they are living. So if we say that there is a negative point of view here, it doesn't mean that this is something bad, but it's something that is personal and what they prefer. Number four, think of how the area will have changed by 2030 or 2040. Just think about the different things that may happen. Number five, select and print out pictures or draw if possible. So since we are predicting or thinking about the future, it's a way just to be more creative and just use your imagination. You can draw pictures and just imagine how will things be in the same area in year 2030 or 2030 or 2040. Now you are asked after that to use your notes and pictures to prepare a PowerPoint presentation for your class. So when I mentioned that there are different ways to present your project, here specifically you are asked to present your project within a PowerPoint here. Now you can apply or insert your drawings or the pictures that you have searched for, and you can just put them in the PowerPoint that you have made together with your team. Now remember always that we are connected to our country and we are proud of the achievements that are happening around us. So be positive and think about the different things that we are proud of and we see every day. So it's very important to think positively about the achievements that are happening and to be strong about them. And the most important thing is to be a part of these changes and a part to build a better country and for a better future, inshallah. Now we're going to stop here with hadith. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: المؤمن القوي خير وأحب إلى الله من المؤمن الضعيف وفي كل خير احرص على ما ينفعك واستعن بالله ولا تعجز. We have reached the end of our unit here. We are going to just go back and see what we have studied in our unit. Now, just to revise here together, what did we take in our unit from the very beginning, from the listen and discuss? We can see that, first of all, we have here the listen and discuss was about predictions made in 2001, made from, they were actually made about 2001, made from the year 1900. It was also the time that we discussed the new vocabulary or the vocabulary check, which was in the first lesson. After that, we took the grammar. We studied the future, basically the future perfect, and also we studied time clauses with the future clauses. We had our conversation. Now, if you remember Edward and his grandmother, when he was trying to convince her or persuade her to try electronic books. And just recall, did she agree with him or was she happy the way that she was? And this supports the idea that I just told you about, that people sometimes they like things to be as they are. We had the listening lesson and also the pronunciation. Now, in the listening, we listened to the advantages and disadvantages of different newspaper types. And we had the application of the pronunciation here, which was about consonant clusters and how to join these consonants. They may be 2 letters or even 3 letters together to make or form one sound. Also, we have the vocabulary building. Of course, we studied new words. And these new words, we saw them also in the reading, which was followed by the speaking. Now, the reading was the amazing topic, an out-of-this-world topic, talking about an out-of-this-world vacation, which was related to tourism, but in space. Also, to remind you that we had the writing, of course, we wrote personal essays about the Saudi vision of 2030. We had our lesson the last time, which was the form, meaning, and function lesson. We studied making questions in the past simple, the present simple. We made information questions and yes/no questions. And of course, we passed by words that are related to space. Bringing us to our lesson today, which is the project. Now remember that you are going to discuss and present a project about changes that are around you. Now we have reached the very end. We have the self-reflection. So we have applied the self-reflection in the first units or the first 2 units. We have come at the end of Unit 3. Now, just to read the objectives, of course, we have here number 1, to practice speaking skills in class, because you are going to discuss with your classmates which are the points that I have just mentioned. We have number 2, to assess performance based on indicators. And we have here number 3, to track learning progress. Now, you have on your page number 47, you can see that we have here the same table that we have passed by, just to mention that we have, of course, things that I liked about Unit 3, and I'm sure that there are many things that you find or you found interesting. You can just write them here. You can discuss with your classmates. Things that I didn't like very much. So what didn't like? Maybe are things that you have faced difficulties and you need help, and you can just go back and inshallah that you're going to like them. We have things that I found easy in Unit 3. And we have here things that I found difficult in Unit 3. Now, just to remind you that you can write any point that you feel that you need help, or you found actually easy and you're happy with it. So it can be vocabulary, it can be in grammar, the information that you have studied, maybe in the listening, or even the conversation phrases. So it's up to you to just write down your notes. We have the table here. Now, as usual, I'm going to also apply. You can just do it with me here or with your classmates. We have the table. Of course, we have Unit 3 checklist. Just to remind you that there are things that I can do very well, I can do this quite well, or I need to study and practice more. So we have here Discuss technology invented over the last 100 years. What do you think about it? Now, personally, I can do it very well. We have here discuss technology of the future. I can say, for example, yes, also I can do it very well. Make predictions about life in the future. Also, it's the same thing. So you can see that they are all related to the same idea, the same topic. So I can do them very well. Use the future perfect and the future perfect progressive. Now, personally, I can say that I need to study more. Maybe some students agree with me. So just to make sure that you know exactly how to use the future perfect, you can just go back and revise. Also, for example, use the future with dependent time. We can say that, yes, sometimes we need to practice more. To ask information questions, as we can see that I can do them quite well. Some students may feel the same way here. So you can just write honestly your check here, because you are evaluating yourself and you are going to help yourself. Use be and be born in the present and the past. Also, I can do very well. Know some regular and irregular past verb forms. Now, a lot of students, they need to just challenge themselves to recall especially irregular verbs and the different forms that there are. You can just revise, and practice makes perfect, inshallah. We have the very end to talk about space and the planets. Now, this is something that we can agree it is very interesting and we can do quite well, inshallah. So we have here, this is the table or the chart. You can write the 5 words that you found most interesting here, and you can just choose wherever you want, if you want from the vocabulary lessons, or even maybe in the reading or conversation, or even listening. So just choose your favorite words of the unit. And if you are still not sure about something from Unit 3, you can read through the unit again, listen to the audio material, study the grammar and the functions from the unit again, and of course, you can ask your teacher for help. We have completed Unit 3, so be ready and prepared. We're going to start, inshallah, Unit 4 soon. At the very end of our lesson today, we have the outline. Now, we brainstormed, researched, and discussed the changes around the neighborhood, area, town, or city. Now, I'm sure while I'm discussing here with you, you have thought about many things, or many things have come to mind. Connected ideas and main points, and of course, you are going to form a symbiotic team by distributing the roles. Now, remember that you are working together. Of course, we have here our self-reflection to think back and evaluate yourself on the topics, tasks, and language presented and practice in the unit. Alhamdulillah, we have completed our 3rd unit, which is Unit 3. Now be ready for Unit 4. I'm going to see you soon, inshallah.